In this short video, we will talk about analyzing and improving teaching. This video is based on Chapter 14 in Lunenburg and Ornstein's Educational Administration, Concepts and Practices, published in 2011 by Cengage Learning. Really, we will talk about two things today: the review of the research on teaching and reconceptualizing teaching. So, as we approach the end of the semester, I am excited to talk to you about research, right? And let's review some research on teaching, how it developed over time. Basically, research on teacher behavior has looked at teacher styles, teacher-student interactions, teacher characteristics, and teacher effects, and more recently, teacher contexts. Okay. There's still a lot that we don't know, that we want to learn, and we need to learn about successful teaching. Nevertheless, research has identified some teacher behaviors that seem to be effective and influence student performance. Okay. And really, more recently, research on effective teaching has shifted from the process of teaching to the products of teaching, and most recently, to the context of teaching. Okay. So the classic important research on teaching prior to the 1970s was the work of Barr, Belek, Flanders, and Ryans. Okay, all these researchers focused on things like teacher styles, teacher-student interactions, and teacher characteristics. That is the process of what was happening, in the classroom, or the behavior of the teacher. Later, in the 1970s and 1980s, the research on teaching was based on the work of these people, Brophy, Joyal, Evertson, Gage, Good, and Rosenshine. And these people focused on teacher effectiveness, that is, on the products or results of teaching. Since the 1990s, two trends influenced research on teaching. One was the nature of expertise in teaching. So basically, researchers were interested in how expert and novice teachers differ in approach and in seeing and analyzing classroom events. Okay. The other approach promoted different forms, of investigating teaching based on language and dialogue, metaphors, stories, biographies, autobiographies, expert opinions, and voice. All these methods, note that they dismiss traditional qualitative methods of examining teacher behavior. So there was a lot of methodological innovation in the research on teaching since 1990s. When talking about reconceptualizing teachers, we always highlight the need for humanistic teachers, right? And that also becomes apparent if we after we reviewed the history of effective teaching, right? After trying to focus on the process, products, right? We are really focused on the context of teaching, right? Humanistic teachers. And nevertheless, evaluation of teachers recently is becoming increasingly linked to student test outcomes. And that happens at the expense of humanistic or inquiry-based and creative instruction. Okay, so these days, we are not even talking about national, student test outcomes. We are really countries are sort of in competition in terms of their educational systems. And these days, you can easily download and do some data wrangling, data analysis, to compare performance of students from different countries on things like, international tests of science, mathematics, and reading, right? All of these things that measure human capital, and that is another reality of the modern day teaching.